So the Aero is the entry-level product for universal audio interfaces, and it's basically portable. So in the future, whenever I'm traveling around, and I'm in different hotel rooms or what have you, I'm going to be able to use this with my laptop and have it be powered by the laptop. Now I will say it runs off of Thunderbolt 3, and what that means is it's a USB-C protocol, but a very specific superset of USB-C, meaning that not all USB-C cables will work. It has to be Thunderbolt enabled USB-C, so it needs to have that Lightning cable on there that kind of signifies Thunderbolt. Either way is really fast and it's compatible with Mac or Windows, but if you have a Windows computer, you need to make sure you have the USB-C Thunderbolt enabled port, and it needs to be Thunderbolt enabled within your software within Windows 10 as well. And just to read some of the promo stuff on here, it says superior sound quality and conversion for world-class recordings. And this is UAD 2, which is real-time UAD processing for near zero latency tracking with effects regardless of buffer settings. So whatever your buffer settings are inside of your software is good, but it has something on here. It has a chip on there, so you can go ahead and use that chip and put plugins and they'll run off that chip and it won't take any power from your computer. So you can process it really quick. You can hear those effects as you're recording. And then there's different settings within the software where you could record the effects right into the audio, or you could just use those effects for whenever you're tracking and then add effects later. But the big deal here is it's near zero latency. Okay, and it says high-speed Thunderbolt 3 connection to Mac and Windows systems. And there are mic preamp and guitar amp emulators from Neve, API, Manley, Fender, and more. So I'm going to go ahead and open the box, connect it to my computer here, and show you what I'm talking about. So I bought this thing repackaged, but it actually says new on here, and it has a date of 3/29/2019. So, and if you look right here, it's actually sealed. So hopefully it's actually new, and for some reason they just gave me a new one. So I'm gonna open that up, just like so. Let's pull this thing open. And there it is right there. Pull this thing out. There it is. All right, and let's see. Comes with this getting started guide right there. And that's all that's in the box. So I'm gonna pull this right here off. And it looks like there was a piece of plastic on this that's actually still in the box. So all your controls are on here, and you can see it's a bit different than this because there's like more knobs and stuff on this. But there are two inputs in this, and there are two inputs in this as well. So right here, this is a mic and a line input. This is a mic and a line input. And there's a left output, a right output. Here's where you put your Thunderbolt cable. Right here is where you would put your guitar. So you have the one guitar input or instrument input right there, and your headphone output. So the headphone output has a separate volume as the outputs left and right there. All right, so right here's where you select your input. Right here's a high pass filter. Here is 48 volts, so you can power your condenser microphone. Here is a pad button, okay? And here, I'm not really sure what that does. Here's a link button, so you can link your channel 1 and 2 inputs. Here's a preamp, and you got a monitor button. So I believe that this enables you to select your monitor for the knob here, or select your headphone output, so you can go ahead and control the volume right there. This is actually a Belkin Thunderbolt cable. I'm going to use this cable to go ahead and connect this to my computer. And when I bought my computer, I actually had them install a card that has Thunderbolt 3, so I know that it's going to work. Right here, that's actually a Thunderbolt input, and I don't know if you can see it on the camera here, but it's actually got a Thunderbolt symbol. Both of these right here have Thunderbolt symbols. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and plug the other end of that USB cable, so I can have that Thunderbolt option there. And you see, I put my computer up on my desk here because I did have it on a stand on the floor, but this cable is only so long, and this is the longest one they had at Best Buy, to be honest. And you know, I figure I could just put my interface right here. I want to show you this. So when I turned on the computer, it asked me to approve the Thunderbolt device. There was a black box that came up in the corner, said new Thunderbolt device was detected, click to approve. So I clicked that box, and this is what came up right there. All right, the following Thunderbolt device has been plugged in into port 2. So what I'm doing is just clicking always connect. All right, you can see it's the universal audio arrow. I'm just going to click OK. So I had to actually register to Universal Audio to even get access to the drivers. So it says connect your arrow. I connected it. Go to next. Download for proceed. All right, it's downloading. UAD setup. Let's get into it. See what happens. View README. Read everything. Install. Yes. Let's go. So I had to install a firmware update, so it's asking me now to power off the arrow by disconnecting it. So I'm just going to disconnect it. So if you look over here, I'm just going to pull the cable out there, disconnect it, and it says disconnected for a few seconds. And after reconnecting, arrow will be ready to use. Reconnected. Computer must be restarted. Restart it. So it looks like I'm in business. It says personalize your new arrow. You're just a few ways away from completing the registration. So when I logged in, it actually gave me an error saying that it wasn't compatible or might not have been compatible. You can see by this unsupported USB audio adapter. But what I ended up doing is just going back here. I unplugged it here, and then I actually have two ports there, so I unplugged it for one and put it in the other one. It might have just worked if I just unplugged it and then plugged it back in, but when I did that, it seemed to go ahead and, you know, these lights turned orange for a little while and then it came back on. And now it looks like it's working properly because a message came on up here and it said that it was connecting or whatever. And so yeah, I think I'm good because this over here also popped up. All right, so I should be good. And since I bought it within a certain amount of time, it says I get the Platinum Vocal Bundle promotion. It's the Antares Auto Tune Real-Time Advance. Get a free UAD plugin when you subscribe. Next, was your main DAW software, Ableton Live, musician, songwriter. Next. Alright, and then there's a big upsell. They want me to buy a bunch of other plugins. You know, I don't really have the money for all that. No thanks. But yeah, basically what it's telling me now is when you focus down here, right there, this is what I clicked on. So when I clicked on this, I went to console, I clicked console, and then that's what actually brought up this whole console right here. And you can see what showed up right there. Okay. So yeah, that's good there. I'm just gonna finish it. Here we go. Oh, finally initializing. I think that was a couple minutes, like maybe 3 minutes of just, you know, going through it. So let me come over here and go to preferences. Let me pick something. Thunderbolt right there. All right, I'm just gonna put it on the highest sample rate. And you can see right there how low that latency is at 512 samples. Click on hardware setup. Input delay compensation buffer. If I put the buffer way down, let's see what happens. This darn camera. Input latency is coming in at 2.21 milliseconds, 192 sample rate input at buffer size of 120 samples. That's pretty much as low as I could get it right there. So a setting like this is likely more realistic with the 88.2 sample rate, 256 sample buffer, 9.46 milliseconds. All right, and maybe if you want to record like that, that's what you're going to get at 96K. Depends on what you want. If you put it on the lowest setting here, you get 18.9 milliseconds there. All right, so I guess it all depends on what you're doing, what have you, but I just wanted to show you the highest settings on here. Obviously, it depends on your computer, how much you can actually use this thing. Like it says, I think the minimum recommendations is like an i7 for this interface. But if you can see here, if you put it on there, you put that there, the lowest you could possibly get. The lowest you could possibly get is a total overall latency of 3.02 milliseconds. All right, and then here's the console here, so I could, insert my effects here. Now, it put a lot of stuff on there. I don't know how much of this I actually have access to. Like it's got the compressors and stuff. See, it's not authorized. Okay, so it's just like installing this stuff, even though it's not authorized, which I wish it kind of wouldn't do that. But I guess it's part of, how they get you. Let's see if there's anything that is authorized. There should be like an authorized only, thing. I don't know why they put all this extra stuff on here. If there's a way to get rid of it, it's like, just show me what I have access to. You know what I'm saying? All right, so what plugins? I have 13 plugins associated with my system. I have the 1176N plugin, the 1176LN plugin. I'll put it on there. So how do I find that one? The 1176. There it is. 1176LN, which is probably that. So it's probably the legacy one. No? Oh my goodness, which ones do I actually have access to? So I have no idea what I actually have access to, because none of them are authorized. So it's very confusing. Why? I don't know. I wish I would just put the ones I have authorized. I don't know if there's a setting. Just want to show you how bugged out this thing is right now. So it's basically in my software over here, it's only saying that I have 8 plugins activated, but over here it says I should have like this one right here, this MPEG. If you look over here, none of the MPEGs are authorized. See right there? And okay, this one's authorized, so there is some things, but it's only saying I have 8 authorized. But then when you look over here, it says 13 authorized, so I'm missing something huge, because right here it says this one's authorized. It says that this one's authorized, but they don't show up as authorized. Okay, the SE version is actually showing up authorized, which this is the 1176 SE. You can see that, but it says I'm supposed to have the 1176 LN, and the LN, either one, the legacy, is not even activated. So what happened? Let's just hide all of these I don't have. And then it's supposed to have access to the Marshall Plexi Classic, which is right there, the Plexi Classic, and you can clearly see right here Marshall Plexi Classic. Marshall Plexi, where's it at? Classic is not even showing up. So it's to show you one more time. I have 13 plugins associated with this system. These are the 8 that actually show up. So I'm missing 5 plugins. So I'm gonna have to just contact support and see what they say, and see why I'm not getting access to these other plugins, because I was looking forward to using that Marshall Classic plugin, that Plexi Classic, and plugging my guitar and just riffing out, into here. But looks like a no-go for right now. So, alright, so I figured out how to authorize the rest of my plugins. So I found this article here on authorizing UAD plugins. So basically, whenever you go down over here, you right click on that UAD meter console, it brings up this right there, and then you push authorize plugins, and it says updating, please wait, and it says successful, and then it added some plugins. So this classic bass amplifier actually showed up, which is dope, and my Marshall and the Marshall Plexi Classic amplifier showed up, which is dope. So now I should be able to go in and use those plugins, and then the auto-tune right there showed up that it was part of the the promotion they got going on. So that's very good there. So what I'm going to do is go back to my control panel. I'll bring my control panel back over, and it's cool. You can see like how much DSP and stuff is being used over here. But if I go to the control panel, and then there should be a setting. If I go to menus and edit, where's it at? View, settings, and then right there I got that. So now I can bring this Marshall back in. Since it's authorized, bring that back in. And what other ones? Right here, this Ampeg, bring that back. Auto-tone, bring the auto-tune back in. This way I can actually use these. Alright, and then right there, raw, bring raw in. Bring this one right there, the LA2A. And here's the other 1176, bring that one in. And then this one right here, nice. Little preamp right there, the 610B. And I think I'm good at that point. I think that's all of them. So now when I click here, I got one. Oh yeah, that shows up, nice. And I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 plugins right there. So yeah, everything's in action right now, and I feel better about life. So what I'll do a lot of things, but let's see. So this one plugin right there is taking, all of a sudden it's taking 33% DSP, and but wow, it's got a lot going on with it. So that is cool. So I'm gonna have to listen to what these sound like, and this is the analog too. So this is gonna give me some good analog, emulation. All right, and what I really want to get to is this Marshall. I want to see how that looks, and then I ran out of DSP, but obviously that's going to happen quite fast. Activate this one. Wow, that Marshall takes up all the DSP, 92% DSP. But it is showing up, so I likely will only use this when recording, so I can set up everything and just record directly in there how I want it, and I should be good to go. But you can see that's taking that one Marshall cabinet. You can see that one Marshall cabinet is taking 92% DSP. So there you go. What's good? I just want to show you that these VSDs did show up within Ableton. So here are all the UAD plugins. Now it's showing the ones that I don't even have activated yet, but it's also showing the other ones. So I could probably just delete these files from the folders and they won't show up. That way, I don't have to be bothered by all this extra nonsense. But they're there. So here's the auto tune. So I put that in there. Here's one of the auto tunes that comes with it. And you can see when I pull it in, if I go back to my console, it is actually running off of the DSP right there, because it's at 48%. You can see that. And if I go ahead and just like remove this, and I actually have two of the auto tunes on this. So if I delete this one, here's the other one. Oh wait, that's the tuner. That's right. I was just testing out the tuner. Just delete that. So whenever I do that, the DSP goes back down to 17%. Right here is at 17. Let's see if we can get that. All right, and but if I pull it back in, all right, you got the auto tuner. So that's gonna put it back up to 48%. You can see that one plugin, bumps up the DSP right there. And this thing has one single processor in it, so cool. So you just got to be selective about which one you want to use if you're going to use it, actively in here. All right, so this can work in conjunction with, I think, like 4 to 6. I'm not sure. I think it's at least 4 that you can go ahead and put together. So if you buy, like, for example, the Apollo X8 or the Apollo X16, all of those have 6 cores in it. So if you buy one of those, you can add those 6 cores to this one core, and then you can use 6 times the plugins. See what I'm saying? And then you can have all your plugins on here. But this is just if you want to use that DSP. All these plugins use the DSP, so it is working. And there's a way to set this up. You can see I have my master coming out 5 and 6, and I was reading that if you want it to go through your inserts here, you have to do it through master 5 and 6. I still gotta learn it. And right here you got your monitor effects. So if you select this is monitor. If you select this one, it's actually going to record your insert effects. You can see right here, it armed all of these to record. So it's going to actually record your inserts onto your console. So there you go. I'm still figuring out, because there's 5 and 6. So you got your 2 analog 1 and 2 inputs, 3, 4, and then I guess 5 and 6. I'm not really sure. I'm still looking into it, but it shows up 5 and 6 outputs. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm assuming, I really don't know what to assume, but I was reading that 5 and 6 are, for your master. So I'm gonna have to do some research and actually test it out, because I'll show you again. If you go over to the preferences, if you go to hardware setup, you got that. That's not what I meant to do. If you go to your input config, there's 10 inputs. So I'm not really sure what all these 10 inputs are, to be honest. But if you go to output config, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which I'm wondering if you see here, you got analog 1, 2, virtual 1 and 2. So I'm wondering if that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6 will be the master. But yeah, I'm gonna dig into this thing and really figure it out. So this is just like real time me figuring it out here. So once I have it kind of my mind wrapped around it, I'll do another video and go ahead and show you the process of how to actually set it up fully and all that good stuff. There you have it. That's the Universal Audio Aero setup. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get in here and kind of test it out, what have you, and see how clear the latency is, how low the latency is, and maybe record some instruments, some guitar, sample some drum machines in there, and just to see how clear and clean it can sound. So this is going to be a little good option for me. So now I have something that's portable that I can use through the Thunderbolt cable. And in the future, what I could do is when I'm traveling, I can use this thing. And for now, I could go ahead and use this thing whenever I'm tracking out, if I want like really low latency, and I could track out my guitars through that, and should be a decent setup. If you want more videos about audio interfaces and music production, go ahead and click over here in the corner. It's going to take you to the playlist where you can go ahead and check that out. And if you're into music creation, go ahead and check out my Continue Creating Music group, where you can go ahead and share ideas and our knowledge about music and, keep each other motivated to stay on the grind. My name is Matthew, Continue Creating Music, and we'll talk soon.